Andy Crowner.
Good morning. How are you?
Pretty great. What's up?
Oh, a whole bunch of stuff as usual. City of West Burlington's moving along and getting things done.
You sound like I feel.
It's an early morning, and I'm still coaching basketball. So my Tuesday nights, I'm yelling at kids.
Oh, yeah, that takes it out of you. I got a couple of decades of doing that. It's fun while it lasts, and then you miss it when it's gone, and I don't know what to say about it other than the grass is always greener on the opposite.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the kids. They've really learned a lot. I kind of sat down last night and made a chart of where we started with different skills and where we're at. They're all making some headway. I'm pretty proud of them.
How old are these kids?
It's 5th grade.
So 10-ish? No. Yeah.
Yeah, 10, 11, right in there.
Yep. Interesting. That sounds like fun, but meanwhile, there's work sessions going, right? Night and day?
Yeah, and hopefully tonight's our last one. We've got a regular meeting tonight, City Council of West Burlington, and then we've got a work session directly after that. So all the previous work sessions, which we had one last week, were kind of the department heads presenting to the council, here's what we want to do in our departments next year. And then this meeting is where we actually sit down as a council and say, okay, here's line items we want to scratch. Here's things we want to move around. We want to pay this out of that fund instead. And so it's a longer meeting, takes a while. I'm hoping we can get a few more line items crossed off this year. I think last year going through that, multi-million-dollar budget, I think we cut exactly one item. So I'm hoping maybe we can do a little more than that this year.
So where do you think you're going to come in at tax levy-wise?
Right now the discussion is somewhere between $9.55 and $9.65.
Ooh, that's down.
Yeah, it's significantly down. We've been at about $10 even for 4, 5, 6 years, somewhere in that range. It's pretty much been right around $10 for close to 20 years. So the main reason for that drop is DESCOM leaving our budget and moving over to the county.
Right.
So that does save about that 45 cents. So that's the main reason for the drop.
Excellent. People will be happy to hear that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, especially after the water rates going up, we
Yep.
are at least trying to cut what we can here.
Good deal. I think I saw, are those 35-mile-an-hour signs already up?
I don't think so.
I think I saw one out in front of Kohl's. Is that already 35s?
Yeah, Kohl's will already be 35. So the area we're talking about starts just west of Walmart all the way out to Washington Road, which is past the hospital and SEC.
Gotcha.
So that area right now is 45, and we'll be taking that down to 35. I will say, we've got second reading of that tonight, third reading at our next meeting 2 weeks from now. So if public has any input they want to give, call the City of West Burlington or email them now. Don't know if we'll change it or not, but now's the time to comment. That's why we have these public hearings.
Yeah, so my plan is to blast through there at 50 until the very last day. That's reasonable, I feel like. So an actual date of that implementation might be what?
We'd be looking probably 2 weeks from now, so
Yeah.
middle of February, around the 17th.
I also don't want to get caught on the other side of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not remember. 2 weeks go by and I forget and then get a ticket. They're pretty good about enforcement around West Burlington. They keep it real. I see them frequently out and about. Do a good job.
Yeah, our police force is really top notch, and I know I've had to call them on several things from a school perspective when I was on the school board there, and their response is just fantastic, and they do so much work to try to make sure the school is safe and do all that in the area. So really appreciate their hard work.
This is Andy Crowner from the City of West Burlington. School no parking zone. I'm a little confused about this. It says first reading of a new no parking area outside the administration office on Ramsey.
Yeah, so the school's there on Ramsey, and we're talking about right next to the elementary. So there's a little administration office where the superintendent...
And a little tiny parking lot, right? And then the baseball field.
Right.
Okay.
And so right outside of that little tiny parking lot, there is still allowed parking right there at the moment. And it's a pretty dangerous area. I've had to go in and out of there quite a few times as I stood on school board, and So we're finally going to do something about that and add a little no parking zone right there. So if you're on that, it'd be to the south of that little driveway going into that little parking lot.
So, but if I still want to park there during a busy baseball game and it's outside of hours, what are the hours of this thing?
It's going to be 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Ah, okay. So we're in good shape for an afternoon baseball game or a weekend, right?
Correct. And you're only talking about, I don't know the exact number of feet, but we're not going all the way up that block. We're just talking a little bit right there by the entrance. Superintendent Beams had called me a couple weeks ago asking if we could get this done, and we've worked pretty fast on it, so I'm hoping that'll pass.
And then what are the other, there were a couple of other little budget things, right-of-way permits. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, tons of little things tonight. Don't need a ton to talk about. We're going to buy a couple extra shotguns for the police department, some ammo, a few IT, some technology items that were already in last year's budget that we're going to go ahead and get purchased. Right-of-way permits, so, your cable companies, your telephone companies, all those people pay us to use our right-of-way and run their lines and wires and so forth. So we've got a few of those coming up tonight that we're going to renew.
And then there's a note about asbestos at the current water tower. So we're talking about the blue one?
Yeah, right out your window there, that water tower, which we're getting ready to replace here and start building a new one. We're going to talk about having that checked for asbestos as we...
Well, I don't see any out there. Down. It's a metal tank, right? Or are you talking about some pipes are covered in it or something, maybe?
Well, and there's a little building, too, that has all the controls to it, which may have some. So we're just going to discuss bringing somebody in to test that before we start tearing into it.
All right. So there's that. And you feel like most of that budget stuff will be resolved after tonight?
Yeah, I think we'll pretty much be all the way there after tonight, unless something would come up that we were unaware of. We should be pretty set on exactly what we're going to do, what line items are going to stay in, and where we're going to be at budget-wise and tax-wise.
All right, let's switch hats over to real estate now, because we haven't really talked about real estate very much during all this budget time you've been coming on, because of all the city business. So what's going on in the real estate world right now, according to AndyCrowner.com?
Yeah, what we're seeing is pretty much the continuation of last year, where we've got a ton of buyers because of interest rates still being really low. However, I will say it's even worse right now in terms of housing supply. There's just not very many houses for sale, and I know I've been saying that since middle of summer, but it's even worse right now. So we're hoping what normally would happen, you hit the spring and you get a big influx of houses. So we're all kind of hoping that happens. I know I've got a lot of buyers sitting there going, well, let's just see what comes up in the next month here. So I've got a lot of people waiting. So great time if you're interested in selling. I think you could probably get a little more out of your house right now than you would have a year ago. So yeah, market stays pretty hot.
Does the change in Washington of administrations have any effect whatsoever that you can see looking forward?
Well, I think you have the initial, 50% of the country that maybe have a little less positive look on things, and you've probably got 50% of the country that has a more positive look on things based on that. So I'm not sure that really changes it. If you look at interest rates, I haven't seen any move to take that one way or the other at this point in time. Everything we're getting from the National Association of Realtors is saying maybe late summer, fall. However, I've also seen some things saying, hey, it's probably going to be through this whole year. So at least right now, if you're interested in purchasing, you probably got a little bit of time, probably through the summer.
And that makes an enormous difference of what you can afford for your money.
Yeah, big time difference in your payments and the total amount that you pay over, 15, 30 years for your home as you're paying your mortgage. You're talking a large percentage drop in the total that you pay in your monthly payment. So really becomes, frankly, cheaper to purchase right now than it is to rent. The guys that own the rentals, they bought it back when interest rates were high, and those rates are set off paying those mortgages. You go buy a house today, you're going to pay a lot less.
Another thing, with regard, so you're at Remax, of course, with your mom who's been there, longer than I can remember.
Yeah, since they opened, I want to say about 20 years ago, somewhere around there, they moved over and started Remax, and she's one of the owners there. And what a great group of people! They do so much around the area, and do a ton of business too. So they're really rocking and rolling.
Well, one of the things that caught my attention was of course, we have the Super Bowl on Sunday, and I was reading the story about the two Iowa Hawkeyes that will play for the Tampa Bay Tom Brady's on Sunday. And one of the big things that Iowa football that has gone really well and is known around the nation is that turning and waving to the kids at the Stead Family Children's Hospital at University of Iowa. And that is the Children's Miracle Network Hospital, our local Children's Miracle Network Hospital. And I saw a connection between that and Remax, and I'm not understanding exactly what it is.
Yeah, all of Remax is so directly tied to that Children's Miracle Network, and it's not an option. Every Remax agent, we give a percentage of our sales directly to Children's Miracle Network, and that goes to fund those 170 hospitals all around North America, and it goes directly to patient care, equipment needs, research. It's a big deal, and matter of fact, we just received an email and a letter in the mail saying, we've raised $2,000 already here this year, which they consider us a miracle office, but obviously with the numbers we're putting up, that 2,000 is going to...
In just a month? In just the first month?
Yeah, just a month. So, you're probably looking 24,000, something like that we give every year. So,
wow.
Yeah, it really is a great reason to use Remax. It's a very nice thing that corporate Remax does and we contribute to. And I'll just tell you my story. My little nephew, Sage, who is almost as tall as me now, runs long-distance track. I mean, is an athlete. He was born 3 months early. And I couldn't even tell you how small he was. I mean, his whole body would have fit in the palm of my hand. I mean, he was so small, and we had to stay up there for 3 months in the hospital. And
wow,
you could barely ever even see him, and was on oxygen for months after we brought him home, and just had such a struggle there at the beginning of life. And I tell you what, they just took such great care of us up there. The hospital, they gave us a place to stay up in the Ronald McDonald House, and that's all due to that Children's Miracle Network, which we give back to. So I'm very appreciative of it. And every time I have a closing, I give people a little thank you and tell them that story about Sage, because it really does hit home with me.
That's awesome. That's an awesome a kind of a quiet charitable contribution that I saw that, but I had never known about that before. And I didn't realize, I know all about the University of Iowa Hospital, of course, but I didn't know its connection to both Remax and the Children's Miracle Network as the local outlet, if you will, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's a thing we're very proud of, and it really is. I think it kind of sets the culture of Remax a little bit, that you do on every transaction, though you're trying to make a little money and you're trying to help your client, every transaction ends with, hey, part of this is going back to help, and here's the stories of these kids, and here's kids directly we're affecting with this money. So it is a good thing, and I do think it sets that culture at Remax of what we're really doing.
You did get, I don't know if you know this, but on their website, for that, it says Remax agents raise over $35,000 for University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. It was, about 3 weeks ago on their website. So good on you, Remax, and especially our local Remax office here in West Burlington. Couldn't be prouder of you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad we do it, and something we'll continue to do. So thanks for all of our clients, too, for picking us and choosing us. And that's what really makes it happen, and the work we do for you. So all that money's possible because of that. All
right. So in the few minutes we have remaining, tell us where to get a hold of you. Maybe hit a listing that you're particularly shocked hasn't sold already or something like that.
Yeah, any social media, there's search for Andy Crowner, and then of course andycrowner.com. You can go up there and get some guides and some good real estate numbers here locally and see listings and those kind of things. So that's a great place to visit if you're interested. And the other thing I would say just about the market today is I've been seeing so many houses right now that are being purchased by people that are fixing them up and reselling them. And I think it will in the future, over the next 5 and 10 years, all the people that are doing this, we're going to have a really nice housing supply here in the Burlington area from all these people doing this. And I just sold one last night, and, the person that bought it went in, redone all the hardwood floors, redid the kitchen, did all that. And I tell you what, I think our housing is really going up because of 10 to 15 developers that are going in and redoing these houses. So if you're looking for something that's updated, maybe you're, thinking about doing that yourself or looking for something, now's a good time. There's lots of those up right now that have been completely redone.
Nice. A random question from the chat room. Where does West Burlington discharge its treated sewer water?
Yeah, we've got the sewer plant out there south of the hospital quite a ways.
Right.
If you take gear all the way down there and then take kind of that right-hand turn down there after that, there's a plant down there.
Gravel, yeah. It's down the gravel. And so the water goes where from that treatment plant?
Yeah, there's a couple ponds down in there that were built for this. So
okay,
it's all down in that area.
Cool. All right. This is Andy Crowner. You can see him at Facebook if you search Andy Crowner, or you can just go directly to his website, andycrowner.com. He has a number of guides there for you folks, especially first-time homebuyer types. Did they renew these programs for 2021, I wonder? In the state?
I haven't seen anything come down. As a matter of fact, the one I sold last night is getting one of those programs. So I know that's still available. There's still some money from the state for first-time home buyers.
Good deal. All right, my friend. I appreciate the time this morning, and hang on there with this budget deal. We're almost at the end of it. The budget is due, the end of February, March, something like that?
Yeah, middle of March, I think, is the date, and hopefully next week when we talk, I'll have a number for you, or at least a number we're voting on that night.
Right. Cool. All right, have a good week, my friend, and thanks.
You too. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care.